Hi, good welcome and welcome to Boom It's on the Blockchain. We are in our 78th show and we're joined from our main man over in West Bengal in India, Arpan Mondal. How are you, Arpan?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you, Alistair?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Arpan. So today we're going to speak about some of the leading blockchains in 2023 and get Arpan's perspective on this. Essentially, Arpan's one of the new young up-and-coming blockchain engineers coming out of India right now. There's a new wave of them. I would say Arpan's leading the charge. So we'll take it from there. Just passed further exams today. Tell a little bit about the exams you've passed just now, Arpan.
So basically, I just got a Linux Foundation scholarship just now.
So it's cloud-based technologies. I know you did a blockchain internship with Google. What was Google trying to teach you before we start talking about this?
Okay, so Google actually is focusing mainly on AI part. I feel like they have more on AI, less on blockchain. So they want to make implementation on AI, machine learning, and quantum computing. So their basically major focus area is all those. And if you talk about the AI or the uh, blockchain industry, those are the places I think most of the booming market of the world is heading towards. So I think those are the best two industries in the world to work for next 10 years.
So before we're going to start going through the sort of top blockchains and have a little bit of overview of them, give a bit of your thought process on the size of the market space, specifically coming from an Indian perspective.
So if we see the current now marketplace is something around 7.5, 7.4 billion US dollars, and 2022 that was the data. But seeing 5 years from that, that is 2027, we can see a market size of 94 billion US dollars. So that is a rise of 66%. And those rise in the market will happen in the places like Middle East, Africa, Asia Pacific. So there will be a large scale implementation of the blockchain technologies, and we can see this great opportunity of growth in all these Asia Pacific countries. Also, I feel like market growth will be attributed towards blockchain based ventures in capital funding. Also, there is rising government initiatives. There are convergence of blockchain with advancement of AI, ML, IoT, and among all others based. So basically, we can see this blockchain industry or blockchain market have a big highest CAGR during all this period. So blockchain will be the highest growing performance based technology that will grow in next 5 years.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I was just researching it there, and they're talking about it being a $470 billion market size by 2030.
Absolutely.
So that's how huge this is about to get, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone else at home who's interested in this, it's on the rise quickly. It's just going to get bigger and bigger, and they're talking about like a market size right now. They're saying in 2023 it's going to be around about $18 billion, that's 18 billion US dollars. But by 2030, that's $470 billion. That's basically how much Saudi Arabia has to invest into the new golf league that they've announced yesterday.
Absolutely.
They've managed to buy golf. It took them about 6.5 months. Everybody, well, that's a lie, but 18 months now they own the world golf. So it won't be long before they're owning blockchain as well. So let's dive straight into the blockchain and the different sort of platforms out there. So, the first one we're going to speak about today is Ethereum. Ethereum's interesting to a lot of people. It came along. It's, if you buy ETH, if you're buying that as a cryptocurrency, it's trading around about $1,800. It's the second biggest one out there behind Bitcoin. But a lot of the technology that we're using is developed on the Ethereum network. So can you give me your insight into Ethereum then, please?
Okay. So basically, Ethereum is one of the popular name in Web3 space. If you know little bit of Web3, that is Ethereum and Bitcoin. So basically, Ethereum is a public blockchain platform, and it's actually help you to develop and build decentralized applications that are using smart contracts. It uses the algorithm of proof of stake. It uses the algorithm of proof of work, And Ethereum has a vast ecosystem which contains of DeFi, which is decentralized finance. It contains NFTs, that is non-fungible tokens. It contains initial coin offering, that are ICOs. And many companies are using Ethereum currently, which are most of them are Aave, Uniswap, Chainlink. This company already uses Ethereum blockchain. You can say ConsenSys also uses Ethereum blockchain, and I feel Ethereum will have a very big market size in the upcoming years.
Yeah, and you're talking about the big companies, but if you think Microsoft, they're using Ethereum blockchain for people out there. JP Morgan, when they did their JPM coin, but a lot of their back end work in terms of the transactions is done on Ethereum blockchain as well. Yes. So Intel was another company I just saw there as well. So these are the big enterprise software companies, banks, financial institutions. They're all using the Ethereum blockchain. Absolutely. So it's already massively mainstream now. Even though you're seeing a bit of sort of the SEC going after Coinbase, Binance, trying to work out what's a security and what's a cryptocurrency. But from a technology perspective, the Ethereum blockchain is the one that everyone's starting to use more. Well, everyone's been using since it came along in 2023, and things are getting built on that. But really, it's allowing all these other blockchains to be built on top of it. So we had Frederic, CEO of the Cardano Foundation, on the podcast in the past, Arpan. So let's talk about the Cardano blockchain and why that's becoming popular as well.
So, see, Cardano blockchain is a layer 2 blockchain, and it's becoming popular because of this mechanism what they are using basically. And I can say that Cardano blockchain has a basically, if we see the Cardano mechanism, it has a scalable infrastructure which uses the input output Hong Kong. So that's a new output that they have created. They are a blockchain research and development company, which I feel that Charles is the co-founder, have helped. The co-founder of Ethereum actually helped to build Cardano. And Cardano actually differentiates itself by employing a research-driven approach, whereas it rely on peer-to-peer review academic research. It is built on unique layered structured, which has the handling cryptocurrency transaction in ADA and computational layers that exist smart contracts, and that separates in and improve the security, allow the flow of flexibility in upgrading the protocol itself.
Yeah, and for people thinking in layman's terms, if you've got an idea that you think you can be implemented on the blockchain itself, what you're going to find is that the Cardano Foundation essentially has like a tech center where you can go with your idea, you can put your idea out there. They will partner with you with blockchain developers who are working on Cardano. If they like the project themselves, they'll help fund the project as well to build that from there. So, the ecosystem they're creating it's not just out there. They're funding a lot of this that's coming out there. And then what you're going to find is, because it's getting run out of Switzerland, from the economic financial centers as well, that you're finding a lot of governments are starting to go to Cardano and wanting to work with Cardano, because the regulatory piece of it as well is a piece that they're trying to push forward with this as well. So if you think Bitcoin and essentially Ethereum's like the Wild West, Cardano is trying to position itself as an alternative. So it basically could be the third biggest player in the market space right now, and they're coming out there and they're going to be compliant with everything. You might find banks, people like that, are wanting to use Cardano as well. So, that's pretty interesting. So let's talk about maybe someone like IBM and IBM's blockchain. Okay. Everyone knows who IBM is, but, how's their blockchain operating?
So IBM blockchain is basically for the companies. That's a private blockchain. They develop private blockchain and they actually target the enterprise applications. So they actually provide services to all those companies out there. It is not for us. Basically, but IBM blockchain focuses on delivering security and scalability and integration with the existing system. Suppose you have an existing book, so you need to add a new chapter to it. So IBM will help you to add a new chapter to it. And for all this, their supply chain management is being best utilized by IBM Blockchain, which is being also used by Walmart. And big companies like Nestle have already implemented IBM Blockchain, because their supply chain management, their trackability, and other use cases are very well defined in IBM Blockchain.
Yeah, that's super interesting as well. And then the thing is, because they run so many different types of software, it's completely compatible with everything obviously IBM run. So for you to start using an IBM blockchain, for a lot of companies out there, they'll probably be using the IBM blockchain if they use any IBM software anyway already without even realizing it. And then suddenly the next thing you're going to do is, even from hashing information on the blockchain and the data piece of it as well, people are going to start moving away from central database systems in terms of, within your office,
Right.
and using that to sort of do APIs into other database systems. You'll just be using one central IBM blockchain for all your data and information, and it'll be sort of backed up on a cloud-based system. But because it's hashed in the blockchain, it's refutable, it's held there, it can't be deleted, and you'll find more and more companies starting to use this from a data piece as well.
So we can conclude that IBM is all. I feel like many companies are already using IBM, so they are adding a just new version to it, adding the layer of security addition with help of Web3. So
yeah, and I think what people need to realize is that as we go forward with this, it'll be a lot of consolidation. So what you're going to find is, like, AWS is running blockchains now. So
Absolutely.
everything's on AWS. Before you know it, when we first started to hash original, when we went through the oil project of, we were getting barrels of oil, we were hashing every part of the process to tokenize oil onto the blockchain. We created our own blockchain. We built our own blockchain, and that was built with our own developers. There were actually developers out from India, and they built that with us. It was good company. They worked with the Indian government. The problem was that when we started the process back in 2019, by the time we were getting to the end of 2020, when it was actually happening and we're doing the process, was suddenly AWS had their own blockchain for doing this. You had the big companies coming in. So what it's done is, all these smaller companies who were your sort of original blockchain developers out there and were building these blockchains, they no longer, they just have to pivot in their business model. And as you say, they're building on the back of things like Ethereum and stuff like that, whereby at that moment in time, everyone was sort of making their own blockchain. I think part of the problem with that was, as you started to put more and more data onto these blockchains, they started to slow up a lot. So
Absolutely.
you could create something, you could hash stuff on a blockchain. We went down to very, very granular detail, to the point that we were wanting to hash every single barrel of oil that we were able to get out of the ground and every part of the process onto the blockchain. Now, the fact that we did this was interesting. The fact that we wrote a white paper about it, financial infrastructure and blockchain-based tokenization. The problem was, A, we're ahead of the game in terms of entering the market, but B, the market didn't really want this transactional hashing of information on the blockchain, because who wants to hash the granular detail of every single barrel of oil on a blockchain? But the idea that was happening, it was coming out there. And really what you're thinking is you're pivoting, you're developing ideas as the bigger software companies come in, that data piece, because essentially they're going into this $470 billion market space by 2030. They're going to want their huge piece of the pie. And that's what's interesting about that company and what we are working with AWS. So AWS has an amazing blockchain system now as well. Anyone out there looking to hash stuff in the blockchain, any data piece, you can just plug in the AWS blockchain and essentially can just hash it straight away for you.
Because they have a huge computational power, so they can give a very easy competitive advantage. Also, they can chip in billions of dollars.
Yeah, that's exactly the difference. They can put the billions of dollars in to get this piece running, and they've got multiple people working on it at the same time.
Right.
So then let's look at the next blockchain we're talking about, is a Hyperledger Fabric.
So this is the most interesting blockchain in private blockchain industry. If you are a blockchain developer, try to learn this. You're gonna make a lot of money. So Hyperfabric is the open source blockchain framework, which is developed by Linux Foundation itself. So it's a Linux Foundation Hyperledger project. So it has a very flexible platform for building permissioned blockchain networks. So if you see Flow blockchain, it is a permissionless blockchain. So we are building here permission blockchain networks which have very modular and flexible platforms. And this Fabric supports pluggable consensus algorithm, which means that you can plug in anything. You can plug in private data channels. You can plug in smart contract. You can plug in several programming languages. So all these companies like IBM, Walmart, Airbus, Hyperfabric is a very, very big enterprise application. So if you are a developer right now trying to learn Solidity, just next go for the Hyperledger Fabric. This is gonna make you a ton of money for a developer.
And then there's obviously Hyperledger Sawtooth. So
Yes.
explain the difference of that.
Okay, so it's Hyperledger Sawtooth is another within the Hyperledger project. It has a different focus. It focuses on scalability, modularity, and ease of development. It is a direct competition with the IBM blockchain, and it has a very unique algorithm, which is the proof of elapsed time, that is POET. So please Google it. And also they support both permission as well as permissionless blockchain. So previously in Hyperledger Fabric, we are using only permission blockchain, but in Sawtooth, we have the both permission as well as the permissionless blockchain. And all big companies like Intel, T-Mobile, Hawaii are utilizing all this Hyperledger Sawtooth for various use cases, increasing their supply chain management as well.
Okay, that's super interesting, Arpan. So the next blockchain I want to speak about was Tezos, and that's spelled Tezos. So give your overview of Tezos and why that's interesting.
So Tezos is very popular in India as well. It is a self-amendment blockchain platform, basically that emphasizes on governance, security, and formal verification. So it allows the stakeholders to vote on purpose protocol upgrades. That means that the stakeholders can directly vote on the protocols, as well as they ensure smooth evolution and avoid hard forks. And Tezos support smart contract written in multiple languages. So you can write smart contract in any language you want. So they have a very various ways of you can write smart contract in Tezos. And to provide a secure and upgradable blockchain, Tezos is a very, very reliable platform. And you can company like Dalma Capital, if you know, they uses Tezos for tokenizations as well for asset management cases also.
Yeah. So we're coming to maybe the last two blockchains I want to speak about today. It's obviously one of them's ConsenSys, and it's ConsenSys Quorum. So, if people are being involved in the crypto space, blockchain space, they know ConsenSys, they organize events, they've got all the developers, they run all the different code. But just give your overview of ConsenSys and their blockchain.
Okay, sure. So ConsenSys Quorum is a blockchain platform that is based off Ethereum protocol only, and it is specially designed for enterprises use case. Basically, it is developed by ConsenSys, a leading blockchain software company by Joseph Lubin. If you know, he was the co-founder of Ethereum, so he actually founded the ConsenSys Quorum. Also, there are very important key features that are being included in this ConsenSys Quorum. That are first is privacy, second is permissionless, third is performance, and fourth is interportability. So interportability in Quorum that means that it can use EVM for allowing developers to reuse existing Ethereum libraries, tools, and smart contracts. So you can directly use Ethereum smart contracts and put into ConsenSys Quorum, and you can use those smart contracts as well. So here, JP Morgan interbanking networking system is used by ConsenSys Quorum, and also for commodity trade finance, for baseline protocols, this algorithm is being used. Also, it has a very good performance for optimizing performance. It includes ConsenSys protocol that customize and advanced transaction processing.
Yeah, that's interesting as well. And I think, before we just sort of round off in Bitcoin, the other blockchain I want to speak about is the Stellar blockchain. Mm-hmm. So the Stellar blockchain has been around for, a number of years, but it's starting to get more transaction in there. You can buy their underlying token or coin quite cheaply, people. So if people start using the Stellar blockchain, there's a good chance it's going to go up in value as well as an investment. But just give your overview of the Stellar blockchain.
So there is a very good joke of Stellar that they have a FBA. So people actually get feared. Why FBA? So basically, don't get feared. FBA is Federal Benzenite Agreement, which emphasizes the integration of existing financial system and using over it. So it actually have very low cost border transaction and remittance, and it enable the insurance and transfer of digital asset, which include the cryptocurrency, stable coin. This transfers can be done using Stellar. Also, this existing finance this is being built on the top of existing financial controls. So companies like IBM, Deloitte, all these big companies uses Stellar for various financial uses, for including remittance and micropayments.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then the other thing that I was thinking about for people to think about Stellar is we had Philippe, who was the CEO of JaizCoin. So they are creating Islamic compliant cryptocurrency, Islamic compliant ecosystem, and they're using the Stellar blockchain. Now, obviously, one of the key aspects of what they're looking to do is to do international transactions.
Absolutely.
So they've got an on-ramp, off-ramp using Stellar blockchain. So you can essentially transfer money, which happens huge in the Muslim community. So, people need to realize there's 1.5 billion Muslims in the world. So that's 1.5 billion people who essentially aren't using Bitcoin or something like Ethereum because of the negative connotations of these blockchains, because it doesn't fit in line with Islamic finance, whereby, the dark web, everything's using Bitcoin. Under Islamic finance, you can't use things for like pornography, buying alcohol, pork. There are other rules. So, this technology is coming along, and then they've essentially had to take a wide berth of Bitcoin. Now, I know some Muslims who've bought some Bitcoin, so it's not like it's but traditionally people coming from the Muslim world are going to stay away from cryptocurrencies because of the reasons I've just stated.
Absolutely.
But now the Stellar blockchain's coming along. It's compliant, it's transparent. Governments, if they start to look at this, they'll like it. As you said already, Arpan, all the financial companies,
Yes.
the way it works, the transparency with it. But it's also the transactional cost of it is absolutely fractional. It's pennyworth. The gas fees are next to nothing,
Yeah, because of the gas fees, nothing we use for micropayments and for remittance transfer from one country to another. So yeah. So if we feel like Muslim economy is different on the Saudi Arabia and all those oil countries, so many workers from India goes to those countries and work there. So they can directly transfer their money from their foreign land to India on a very fractional cost. So I think this Stellar blockchain will prove to a boom to it.
Yeah, because right now they use Western Union. And generally, you go Western Union, and it's like, and if people think, but if you go out to the Middle East or you go out to other countries, there's Western Unions all over San Diego, because a lot of people from the Hispanic communities that live here send money back to Mexico or to South America. They all use Western Union, and these companies are charging like 8%. So if you're putting $100 in, they're getting $8 of it every time. It's like, so, and you go to the Middle East, there's something like that. You go to Iraq, some of these other places, there's a minimum fee. So it's 8% or a minimum fee of like $50, $25. And if you're trying to send $300 back, that could be your monthly wages in some of these places.
Yeah, that is $24 taken by the Western Union. So that's a huge money for
just
those
straight
workers.
away. So, and then suddenly the Stellar blockchain comes along. It's compliant with Islamic finance. It's compliant with other people being able to use it. It's transparent and it's transactional and it's instantaneous. Does everything that Bitcoin can do and Ethereum can do from a financial perspective, and it essentially costs nothing, or next to nothing. It just happens instantaneously. So people can suddenly transfer money from one part of the world to the other part of the world, which originally was the very first transaction with Bitcoin and why people got excited about it.
Absolutely.
It does the same thing, but this transaction, is safe, it's compliant, it's set up for the financial sector, and it costs next to nothing.
Absolutely.
So people out there, and when I got Philippe on there, you're right next door to Pakistan. It's a huge population of a country as well. You go all around the world as well. If you go to Dubai, there's obviously lots of people from India, but there's lots of people from Bangladesh, lots of people from Pakistan. They're all working there as well. They're all using the Western Union. You know,
So they're
Western
paying
Union's been ripping everyone off for years.
right. So they are paying a huge money to Western Union. In case they can use Stellar blockchain. So I feel I am very bullish about Stellar blockchain.
Yeah, me too there as well. So we're already coming up to the end of the podcast, Arpan, and I know it's getting on to midnight with you guys back there. But what we want to talk about is, Bitcoin. Everyone knows Bitcoin. It's it's sitting around about $26,000. It's worth doing a little dabble in Bitcoin. Everyone, you can open a few accounts, you can get some free Bitcoin anyway. If you open enough accounts, you can build up $100 each day. But then you'd have a lot of wallets. But, ultimately talk about the developments that's happening on the Bitcoin blockchain and what other technology is going to be coming out on Bitcoin.
So basically the financial tech that is being written on a white paper of blockchain. So Bitcoin is the mother of every blockchain, as you all know. So there are many Olympics. The Bitcoin Olympics is happening to create awareness on building on blockchains on Bitcoin. So I feel the transactional part, the micro transactional part. So I feel this Bitcoin will be used by the bigger federal banks to transfer huge amount of money. It will be not used by local people after a few years, but it will be used by the huge companies and the industries and federal banks.
And that would be the big uptake in Bitcoin. And then a lot of the developments that's happening with Bitcoin as well, and the technology behind it is just getting evolved all the time. So the thing about Bitcoin is it's a store of value. It's just able to transfer money. People are investing in it. But the thing people need to realize, and what we spoke about today, is the technology behind it.
Yeah.
And all these blockchains we spoke about today, they've all got a native token. You can go out there and buy the native token, hold on to the native token. And as more people start using this blockchain, essentially the values of the native tokens increase.
Yeah. The market size also grows. And if you can see giga transaction happening on blockchain in future in Bitcoin, up to 2072, the last Bitcoin will be mined. So before that, we can see that millions transaction happening second. That is a very near future we can see. So that how blockchain technology is changing every day. That's how every day blockchain technology is improving, and we are on a great future. We are stepping towards a great future towards blockchain, and yeah, that's all.
Yeah, perfect. And then just to round it off there as well, you were talking last time about, India's investment in young people in the blockchain. Is there any new developments there, or can you give a bit of an overview of what's happening in India and blockchain?
Yes. So Indian blockchain, basically the only one name came from is Polygon as well as Sodium. So Sodium is a proof of community. So there are many validators out there. So Sodium will be a very big project out there in few years as well, coming from India.
Perfect. Always great to get your insight. Well, that's just hit the 30-minute mark today again, Arpan. So thanks very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me again and to talk about leading blockchain 2023. I hope we'll discuss more topic about blockchain and make people aware about blockchain and Web3 as well.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, Arpan. We'll always bring Arpan in to bring, his perspective, young people who are on the cutting edge of this. Arpan's, he plays it down, but he's had a lot of internships with all the big companies in terms of their technology. So he's learning all about AI, blockchain, Web3, all the different utilizations of NFTs. So it's amazing what the younger generation from India who are involved in the space are getting developed on there. And what's so amazing is the amount of people doing this right now.
Absolutely.
It's you think of places like Harvard University. Yeah, they've started their own blockchain course. There's no full degree in Harvard here, so there's like 6 month, 1 year, 2 year courses. But when you go out to India, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of developers on the cutting edge of this technology.
Absolutely.
And this technology change is happening right now. And I feel, as we move to 2030, and I think it'll be over $1 trillion. I think this $500 billion is an underestimation of what's about to happen. But India is going to be I think the leading country for the technology as it's developed.
Absolutely, Indian and Middle East countries are gonna be the top side of and Africa also. You can see many round of developments happening in Africa. So there are many Web3 developers who are coming out of Africa. So great talent.
Especially Nigeria as well. I know there's a lot of Nigerian blockchain developers as well.
Yes.
All right, perfect, Arpan. Thanks so much again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and then thanks to everyone out there. You've been watching Boom It's on the Blockchain. My name's Alistair Caithness. Have a nice day.